is in the house.
Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Everybody. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Big Show! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McSham, your host here. It's going to be a quick wrestle chat here, talking about the season pass, which that kind of dropped last night on Monday Night Raw. Must-see TV. What are you going to say? You miss it? You miss a lot. We're going to talk about some stuff here. There's still a pack in particular that a lot of people don't seem to know answers to. I think I've got them, though. So we'll talk about that as we move along here. Freddie's in the house. D-Train. We already heard that. Well, welcome back, my buddy. They added AD token. Didn't see that. Okay, yeah. What else we got? Anything newsworthy? Mania Showcase. They updated the previous one. Yep. So the big difference with the WrestleMania Showcase with Savage and Steamboat is that you have both Elizabeth and George Animal Steel, which you did not have that the first time around. Jay Wiley, what's up, my brother? I'm doing great. Papa H from across the pond. How do you do? Good to have you here, buddy. Kevin Davis in the house. Looking forward to ECW pack. Yeah, let's just jump right into this because there's some good stuff. Listen, I am probably one of the most vocal critics on this company and the wrestling games they have put out for the last decade. I'm not saying that's going to change. What I'm going to tell you right now, at this moment, this is the best they've ever looked going into release. Now, I ain't going to pretend that I don't expect this thing to be a clusterfuck when it starts and lands. Because they put so many new things in it and basing it on track record and their history, I got to believe we're going to have a lot of issues. And their lack of overall testing in the past, I don't think that's changed. So I'm expecting a lot of crashes. I'm expecting a lot of things to not work the way they're supposed to work. Every game has issues. I just think they're going to have the normal above average percentage of issues because they don't test them properly. That's their track record. So you can't blame me for being negative at this point after this many years. That said, on paper, this is a banger. The season pass is, you can't argue with it. I mean, you can't say it's not worth the money. You're getting everything in the world on this season pass. And then there's some other stuff we can talk about as we move along. Let's just jump right in and take a look at the season pass. There you see some of the big headliner names that we're going to be getting into here in a moment. So the first pack right here, the ECW Punk pack. I expected CM Punk to come out, but I certainly didn't expect him in the first pack. So again, above and beyond expectations. Not hard to do when you've set the bar as low as they have. But okay, I'm willing to put the past in the past if you fucking come to the table this year and produce a game that doesn't suck. We have potential. That's all I'm going to say. So the fact that you've got the ECW and Punk in the first pack is a home run for me. I mean, May 15th. Now, the dates that I had announced a week ago, I got them from a reliable source, but he was wrong. He was wrong. So these are the official dates now, May 15th. So we got CM Punk, the Dudleys, Sandman, Terry Funk. Anything over that is just bonus. I mean, you already got your money's worth right there. But you've got the Paul Heyman for the My Faction content manager card and some superstar cards. That is a massive pack right there. And we haven't seen Sandman in a long time. We haven't seen Terry Funk in a long time. So getting them in there is going to be absolutely amazing. I think CM Punk's last game was 2K14, 17, somewhere in there. Moving on to the second pack, we've got Post Malone and Friends, June 26th. I asked, so originally it was June 15th, the day before my birthday. Now it's going to be 10 days after my birthday. And I said, what do I get? Post Malone, who I don't give two shits about. Sensational Sherry, that I'm happy about. She's never been I didn't realize this. Never been playable in the game before. We've had her as a manager, but she was never playable. So this year she's playable. Boom. Mosh and Thrasher have never been in a 2K game. I'm not big fans of theirs, never was, but it's nice that we're getting some new people that we haven't had before. Honky Tonk Man, I'm always going to be happy about that. Jimmy Hart, always going to be happy about that. And some My Faction content with superstar cards. Who knows? Who cares? And that brings us to DLC 3, and this is where all the answers were there yesterday if you listened. So it's Pat McAfee with playable co-hosts. Stay tuned for more information. The playable co-hosts are going to be the guys on his show, his posse, and Michael Cole. If you were watching Raw, I'm watching all these big YouTubers, and it's like, we're not sure who it's going to be. We're not. Yeah, he mentioned it straight up in the middle of the broadcast. Hey, Cole, weren't you wearing a singlet at WrestleMania once? It's right there in front of your lap. So Michael Cole is going to, I guarantee you, I will bet the farm, he is going to be one of the, what do they call them? Co-hosts. There you go. Playable co-hosts. I don't know that they're going to add, well, they might have Corey Graves. Corey Graves is another possibility. And then some superstar cards. So this is going to be a pretty mediocre pack at best. Okay, you're going to have Pat McAfee, but he's wrestled like, what, 5-6 matches ever. I'm not a massive Pat McAfee fan. I like him. I can watch him. He doesn't, he's great in the ring for the little bits that he's done. I don't like the fact that he's downselling himself right now. I mean, everything that he said about himself on the show is that, oh, I'm not that good. Oh, I shouldn't have a high rating. Dude, stop burying yourself. There's plenty of people that'll do that for you. You got to make us believe that the Emperor's wearing some really nice clothes. Let's see what else we got here. And so much means going to have Glitchamania run wild. Yeah, I don't want that to be the case. I would love to be able to say, finally, they got it right. I just, you got to build that trust back up in the community. You're looking like you're heading in the right direction. That's as much as I'm going to commit to right now. Buddy, it's good to have you back, man. I missed you. One thing already not working. A lot of people have been playing it, and the whole blood thing is not working. It doesn't drip everywhere like it said. Well, I mean, nobody's played the final game, so that's the only thing I care about is what launches. The DLC is actually great. Just hate I gotta wait till November for the Legends pack. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too, Jay. Post Malone, again, I don't know the guy's music. I've heard a couple of songs, just in general. Not my kind of music. He's not my kind of dude. I got nothing for that. That's right up there with Bad Bunny. Infrared, my brother from another mother. What you doing? All right, moving on to the DLC number 4. We've got the Global Superstars pack, September 20th. Now, start noticing how we're missing months here. It's not in every month. We got May, June, July. We skip August, hit September. And then we're going to skip October and hit November. And I have a sneaky suspicion on that. We'll get to it in a second, though. And if it is, it's a good thing. It's not my favorite thing, but it's okay. We'll see how it plays out. DLC 4, the Global Superstars pack on September 20th. Back to school special. Jade Cargill, again, home run that they got her in this game. What they're proving here is something I've said for many years. We've always had some superstar that either debuted or just returned after a lengthy absence. And, well, it's too late to get them in the game. If you really wanted to, you could do it. Now, it's easy to say, well, they could do it with CM Punk because they had already scanned them, and all they had to do was update some textures and da-da-da-da-da. They didn't have Jade Cargill before, and they got her in. And I know we're a little bit more advanced now, and they can probably do it a little faster than in the old days or whatever, but I'm just saying, So having Jade Cargill, which tells me that between now and September 20th, she'll actually have a match. Nia Jax is enough to make me almost want to cancel. But no, she'll be there. Michelle McCool, good to have her. Carlito, another one. That's great to see them in the game. Carrie Sane, that should have been the easiest thing in the world. She'd just gone for, what, a year? I was so happy to see this because I hadn't heard her name mentioned. Lyric Valkyrie. I love this girl. Glad to see she's in the game. Dragon Lee, I should probably watch some more of his matches. I really haven't seen much of him. I know the world seems to think he walks on water in wrestling. So I can't say I have not watched enough of him to know. Then we come to the WCW pack, which I know a lot of us are really looking forward to. But gosh dang, November, that's Thanksgiving. We just did that. Diamond Dallas Page, the Iron Sheik, Mr. Perfect. I thought he wasn't going to be in the game. I'm so happy to see him. Check out. I can't wait to see what version of the Great Muta are we going to get. Are we going to get the WCW Great Muta, or are we going to get the Great Muta who just retired? So I can't wait to see that, and just to have all that in there and the stuff that he does. And yeah, that's going to be awesome. Lex Luger's coming back to the game. Good to have him. And that rounds out what we know right now. Now, we talked here about the gap in months after we get the first three out of the way. My thought is this. We already know that there are at least certain characters in my faction that will then be able to cross over into your regular game. And you'll be able to use them in your universes and all that other stuff. I have a funny feeling during these down months, they're going to have some special pack, even if it's just attires for already existing wrestlers, or maybe you'll see a Godfather or somebody like that come back that's not on these lists right now. And you'll grind them out, unlock them in the mode, and then you'll be able to bring them in. And maybe they're going to be doing maybe 2 or 3 of those types of things during those down months. Or, and there's been rumor about this, none of this is confirmed yet, but one of the other rumors is that they will have stuff. If you don't want to grind it out, here's how much it costs. And as long as you keep the price point reasonable and don't get greedy, I'm okay with it. I mean, yeah, you got people already spending $120 on the game in the U.S. Not count, poor folks in Canada are paying a lot worse than that. But it's nice to see that there are certain things that are changing that are going to make this a lot more palatable than it's been in many, many, many years. Infrared, that's the whole thing. We don't know yet. And that is my number one question is, which version are we getting? I don't see them doing 2 versions. Like I thought and hoped that they might do 2 versions of Billy Graham, the old 70s, 80s version, and then the last run in WWF when, he was the bald-headed and had the big beard and all that stuff going on. I was hoping they would have that one as well, but they didn't. Or at least it does. Now, again, potentially that could be part of the My Faction. Maybe we'll get the older version of Billy Graham. I'd pay for it. Not a lot, but I'd pay for it. As Ozzy, can't wait for the postman. Well, again, if you're into that, that's cool. It doesn't do nothing for me, though. August is the WrestleMania 40 Arena release, too, and that's why. Yeah, but I mean, it's there's got to be something else with that. It can't just be the arena. And that's another thing, too. How could they have never put a WrestleMania arena from that year in each game, at least the last 2 years? You already have the arenas. All you have to do is put in the decorations, and the stuff. The base is all the same. I mean, you see these content creators knock it out the next day. But they're finally doing it. They're finally doing it. I bet the months without DLC release, they will add My Faction. Yep, there you go. So Jay and I are on the same page. And again, I'm all right with that as long as you keep it reasonable. Don't get greedy. Yeah, DDP, was he in last year's? No, I don't think he was. I don't even know anymore. But he's been in quite a few. It's not like we haven't seen him before, but always good to have him. Great minds think alike. Yes, indeed we do. Yeah, I don't know about Halloween Havoc Pack. I mean, it could happen, though. It's all possibilities. What's the damage? Don't know. We're going to find out. Don't worry. They'll be sure to let you know. What's up, Judd? One King Entertainment. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the difference, though. When it comes to AEW Fight Forever, they didn't just get greedy. They got stupid. I mean, look at the shit they put out. All you're doing is adding wrestlers. You haven't done anything for the game. You still don't have a steel cage match, and that's not something we all said on launch. That game is dead. I don't know how long they're going to keep throwing dirt on that fire. But that game is dead. When I am not updating my roster, because I'm a completionist when it comes to wrestling games, I want to have every available wrestler for a game. So even those crappy games that we had, like what was that cartoony piece of crap? Battleground, even that kind of crap. I wanted every wrestler, even though I haven't played that game in 2 or 3 years now, probably never will again. I wanted every wrestler that was launched, that was available in the game one way or another. And when I look at the AEW stuff, it's like half of it is because I just don't watch their show anymore and I don't care about their talent. But I look at the names that they're giving us, and it's like I don't get the teach your own. I have never been into Swerve Strickland. Not in the WWE, not in AEW. Does nothing for me at all. I don't find him. I'm not saying he can't wrestle or he's not a talented athlete, but so far as charisma, he ain't doing it for me. I mean, there's only so many R-Truths in the world. I mean, R-Truth is the ultimate when it comes to charisma because he don't have to have a match. Fans are happy to hear 10 minutes of him rambling and saying stupid shit. To see him going to Austria instead of Australia. He's gold. And there's not that many of him. But he's one of those rule breakers where he's so good out of the ring, even if he had a stink match, nobody would hold him accountable for it because we love him. And there's not very many of those guys existing. Or girls, for that matter. Hopefully my faction will have full entrance and attires. Don't they normally? Battlegrounds was the answer. I managed to come up with it. I'm seeing more and more resemblance between me and Joe Biden on a daily basis with the shit I forget. But I don't get any sleep anymore. Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about AEW's game, Papa H, it was fun for a couple of days. Literally, after 48 hours, I was done with it. And then they brought in the Arena Stampede, which I thought was unique, and it has some fun elements to it as well. But the whole community's bailed on that. I mean, no one is playing it. My house, Freddie, my house. That's whose house. I'm guessing that's a Swerve thing. I don't even know. AEW just proved that WWE is better when they or the wrestling community consider something competition. AEW, I bash them because of the product. Not that I want them to go bankrupt. Not that I don't want them in business. They need to do better. They have the means to do better, and they don't. There's companies like, TNA that don't have that kind of money, don't have that kind of budget. And they do a whole lot better than AEW. Now, we'll see how that transpires over the next few weeks now that they decide to do something stupid and fire Scott D'Amore, but that's a whole other animal. AEW Dynamite new logo. Oh, gosh. I did see something weeks ago that they said, I don't know if it's already come out. It was like it was coming soon or something like that. So I'm not sure if they've already put it out on TV product or what the deal is. Didn't it just have a lot more neon to it or something like that? I just remember looking at it and say, look, Your logo, your set, your arena. That ain't your problem. Problem is what happens when the bell rings. Did I watch the A&E new shows? You're going to have to be more specific to what you mean there, Judd. I watch no AEW at all. I do not watch any of it. Not even YouTube clips, nothing. There's nothing about AEW that I'm interested in. What WWE new show would we be referring to? One King, A, I'm glad you got back into it. B, I'm glad you're enjoying it. C, I hope that you could still say that a month from now. Because one of the things that's been making it so good for the last few years now and getting better has been Scott D'Amore and his vision and his relationship with the talent. And they really just rocked that boat big time. I mean, that's the iceberg in the Titanic, what they just did. So I'm not sure how it's going to look going forward, but we'll find out. I am hoping they do well with whomever's at the helm. I'm guessing Tommy Dreamer's really making most of the shots right now. And that's not a bad thing, but morale's an important thing. And right now, if you've got 80% or more of that locker room, and it sounds like it's closer to 98% of that locker room saying, screw you for what you did to Scott. We don't want to have nothing to do with you. That's going to be tough. And I can tell you a lot of guys are not going to re-up their contracts after this. Guys like Josh Alexander, I don't think there's a chance in hell. Moose, I don't think there's a chance in hell you keep him either. So when these contracts run out, they run out. And those are two of your top talents right there. It's very colorful. I had no doubt of that, man. No doubt whatsoever. Yeah, Pure, as we were saying at the beginning, it looks really good, and I want to be optimistic, but I've got to also look at the history of the game. And ever since 2K, somebody was saying 2K14 was the best one they put out. Well, they really didn't put it out. It was THQ's game. They took it over and released it. So it's kind of funny that that's the best one they put out. Oh, A&D biography. I forgot all about that. Is that last night? I'm going to have to watch the replay. Thanks for reminding me, though. I meant to set up my DVR and totally forgot. What was last night's episode? Who was the subject? I saw they're going to do something with Slaughter, Macho Man. I saw Rivals and Legends show. Okay, yeah. I have not, but I do need to. And that's going to be on the Peacock Network thing, too, is right? Because I can check it out there. Probably even easier. WWE Rebels? What the hell is that? I have not. Is this like a Star Wars crossover? What's WWE Rebels? What is that? I have not heard a word about this. Pierce hasn't had a timeout in a while. I got to be honest. It's been a little bit. Rock, Triple H, Sergeant Slaughter was the two from Sunday. Oh, Rock and Triple H, their feud, and then Sergeant Slaughter. Okay, I'm going to have to check those out, because especially the Slaughter one, that one really got my attention. I would love to see hopefully they did a good job, and hopefully they go all the way back to like when he took the riding crop to Bob Backlund and stuff like that, because that's when I first got to see Sergeant Slaughter ever, was when he was in the WWF and he attacked Bob Backlund during the step contest and whipped him. I'd seen him a few weeks before that, just beating up on jobbers, but so far as real heel, that was my Sergeant Slaughter intro. Well, Baba H, if you decide to get 2K24 now and pre-order it, my understanding, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is you get 23. So you essentially get 2K23 for free. Maker of Riots. I don't got that one. $2K20 could have been so good if it worked. That was their big obstacle with that game, wasn't it? It just didn't work. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a concern factor about 2K24. Hold on. I love it when people wait till 7 o'clock at night to call me about work. I ain't got time for that in my life. Yeah, so we'll see. There's just so many new things between the camera angles and throwing things and being able to catch things. There's a lot of stuff in there. Again, it all makes the game better if it works. If it doesn't confuse the hell out of the game. What, you want me to change camera angles? Okay, what are you throwing something at the... Stop, wait, I'm changing camera angles here. Hold on. That's it. Everybody go to sleep. Oops, wrong button. Yeah, the pre-orders gives you 2K23. So, yeah, there you go, man. There's a chance to get both. Yeah, Brock, it doesn't matter. I mean, the community creation guys are going to make one that looks probably better than what would have been in the game, and there he is. Whether they'll be able to unlock his music, they will be. Will they be able to upload it? Towards the end of, last, 2 months ago, they came out with a patch for 2K23 that would not allow that anymore. It was stopping them from doing it, and everyone expects that was to prevent them from doing it in the future titles. So I don't know if we're going to get the music. And Brock's music, realistically, is a big part of his overall, the entrance and all that, the vibe. But like I said, somebody's going to create one that's going to look banger. Don't even worry about it. I'm not worried about it. I know there'll be a good one in there. I don't really know that we need him anymore. Look, he's not going to be part of the real product anymore. That's out. I'm waiting to see, because they had to have done the ending of the streak. That had to be in there. Is it still in there, or did they take it out? Because they have announced weeks ago, long before this, how many Road to WrestleMania little story clips there were going to be. And I want to say it was 22. Correct me if anyone has the right answer. So I wonder if all of a sudden we get 21 and they actually make that whole thing just disappear. Because they definitely do not have time to put a new one in. That I can tell you. But him not being in it, Look at it this way. He shows up 2 or 3 times a year. Screw that. Yeah, and they've done some improvements with the ladders and the Money in the Bank, and now you can do double titles in every match type, including the ladder match. So they'll have 2 belts now hanging from it like they did back at the, WrestleMania 10 with Shawn Michaels and Razor. So again, they've done a lot of little things. They've got new entrances for double belts. So if somebody's holding 2 titles, there's like 3 or 4 different styles you can choose from of how to enter with the belts. Some of the gameplay I've seen, especially from New Legacy, I love those guys, has made me want to play it. And it looks, well, here's the thing about New Legacy. They can make every game look fun. But that's because they like breaking them. They take those games and trash it. I did my little commercial spot for them, and I wish I would have recorded the audio a little higher. But they did their invitation where they went out to the event. They were letting the big YouTubers play the game, get first looks at it. And he even says during that segment, he's like, I want to send a shout out to the dev, because he managed somehow, him and his boys screwing around, managed to throw someone off the ambulance into the crowd, which you're not supposed to be able to do. This is, yeah, and I want to send a shout out to the devs who came over and said, leave it to New Legacy to find a way to screw it up. Everything pro wrestling. What's happening, brother? Well, I wasn't getting the game. I was vocal about it. I was sticking to my gun. It was hurting me more and more each week as I heard new things coming out about the game. But I wasn't getting it. I was going to wait and see what everyone says after it launched, and then if it works, I was going to get it. But my girlfriend, secret to me, for Valentine's Day, jumped onto my PlayStation and went and bought it for me without saying nothing. And like 4 or 5 days later, I'm looking at my store and I'm like, what the hell is this? Oh, I know what it was. I went to go and check the game's page out to see if they had any content listed at that point yet. And I see that it's doing the countdown clock. I'm like, you know anything about this? And yeah, so happy Valentine's Day. So I don't have plans for it. I don't know. Initially, I'm not going to make any. I'll just on launch day, like usual, midnight. I'll be up. We'll do some stuff. I think I'm going to focus mainly on universe mode on night one and just throw a bunch of stuff together, see what new options are out there because they haven't said a whole lot about it yet to me anyway. I haven't seen anything. And we'll play it from there. Can we upload our... Oh, no, dude, that's never going to happen again. That you're talking about freaking PS3 stuff. That's gone. That is gone. They will never do that because of copyright issues. So the Sony's made it clear they're not doing that anymore. Oh, Tom Watts, you're late to the party, buddy. I never caved. My girlfriend bought it for Valentine's Day without telling me, and I found out about it a few days later when I was in the store. So I did not cave. It was hurting. And again, I never said I wasn't going to buy it. I said I wasn't going to buy it at launch. I wanted to see that it worked, and then I would make my decision based on that. So I don't want to say I was thinking I was going to get it because I wasn't. Based on track record, I expect this thing to be a hot mess. I just hope I'm wrong. No, last year I might have said I wasn't going to buy it, but I didn't double down the way I did this year. I mean, this year I was 110% down. I thought, honestly, I thought the pre-order stuff was going to be Bray Wyatt stuff and Fiend stuff. And yeah, I would have liked to have it, but I got it in how many other games? Who gives a shit? Then the first thing I hear is Superstar Billy Graham, who's never been in the game before. And that's when I started bitching. Like after every stream or something, I was like, can't believe they wait to this fucking year. The year that I said I'm not getting it all. And she kept on telling me, would you please shut up? And I guess after 3 or 4 times to tell me to shut up, she just went and did it. So it is what it is. No, I ain't blaming anyone. She did me a solid on that. And she is a legend. I will agree with that. Has anyone announced that officially, Jay? Because if you're not going to play as Brock Lesnar and he defeats the streak, and again, they can't change that up. At this point, whatever they put in there for that portion of the showcase has to stay. It's not like they can suddenly have you play as The Undertaker and then you'll lose the match. Which, by the way, do you ever lose the match in showcase mode? I think you're always on the winning team. And what would be the second showcase match? Kurt Angle, maybe? And you could botch that moonsault thing. Yeah, they have it on PC for sure. Yeah, PS5 is going to be better for you, I'm telling you. GM Spectre, what's happening, buddy? Special Enforcer? Man, I haven't played 2K16 in a long-ass time. Hey, we're having a guest referee. That's as good as I need. Well, SmackDown Hotel's pretty good, but that's not necessarily someone I'm going to say is a reliable source onto this particular subject matter. I mean, how are they confirming it if 2K is not? I mean, I'm watching all the big guys, and no one has mentioned it yet as to, and they've even played, because like the embargo's done now, I believe, because they're posting certain video of the showcases but I think they were able to see the other matches, even if they couldn't play them yet. Unless they were told not to mention him. Maybe that's part of the deal, is that you cannot mention Brock in any of your stuff. That's a possibility, because they are really trying to just. And I hate the fact they're doing it, because, by the way, the guy's not convicted of anything. He's been accused of being someone who was being offered services that he never actually took advantage of. And there's a couple of different stories I've heard about that he would have, but the plane was snowed in or whatever. Okay, the plane was snowed in. He didn't do it. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I thought about robbing the bank, but then I decided not to. You can't arrest me for thinking about it. I'm just sick and tired of cancel culture. If he did something, that's a whole other animal, okay? I get why Chris Benoit's not in any games. I get that. I get why Vince McMahon is out of the game. I get that. By the way, no one's mentioning hiding Vince, and 40 years of WrestleMania, Vince was originally in the game. Dude, somebody, I want to say Smack Talks had the call mode video up from when he went and tested it. And I got to tell you, man, I want to see the old school call makers come back and not use any face scans or anything, and just use the in-game stuff, because it looks amazing. Because now you have face morphing, the different face template to start with. Then you put the skin you want on top of that, and it's like a whole separate palette. And I think people are missing out if all they're going to do is scan faces and upload them and stick them on there. I'm trying to think. I know I'm going to want to make one just to test it all out, and I haven't figured out yet. Maybe you guys come up with an idea. Someone who's not on the roster, or maybe even someone who'll be on the roster but not until November or something like that. I don't know. But just to really put it through its paces and see what it looks like. And I mean, all the stuff I'm doing on 2K18 right now, and I'm loving the way 90% of that stuff is turning out. There's a couple that I'm a little, that's as good as I can get it. But most of them, I'm like, gosh, damn it, that's good. And I just like the way they look. And that's 2K18, which doesn't have nearly the detail that 24 is going to have. Versus deluxe version or 40 years. I think for what you get with 40 years, it's worth it, because now you're instantly, and to me, that's a big deal. Day one, unlocking everything. I ain't paying $100. Not grand, I ain't paying nothing, but I want to feel like the money went to something, right? But my point being, anyone paying $120 for the game, I don't want to have to sit there and unlock stuff. So the fact that everything gets unlocked, to me, is worth it. And I hate to say it, but I would always, if I'm getting the game, I would always pay for that, the little extra, just to save all that time, because I don't like these modes. Like My Rise, I might not even touch that. Last year, I think I did it. You had to do it to unlock the friggin' arena for the war games. That's the only reason I did it. But I didn't enjoy it because I don't like it. And that's another change they made, by the way. So you're doing the showcases, and all those little prompts would tell you that you now have to do this to the wrestler. And then if you didn't know how to do it specifically, or where you need to position, you had to hit pause, and then it would show you, hit the triangle and the circle and movements. Well, now you don't have to hit the pause button. It's going to be right there on the screen telling you what the thing is to accomplish and how to accomplish it. So you don't have to hit pause, because it was taking a lot of people out of the mode. Or if you're like me and you really just need to focus on one thing at a time, you can hit pause and still do it that way. So either way, it's, again, these are small things that will definitely make it a better experience. I've also noticed in all the gameplay I've been looking at, I don't see any of the Mortal Kombat hopping up and down. That's good. I haven't seen enough yet to see if every move starts with a collar and elbow tie-up, like last year's did, which was a little bit monotonous after a while. Yeah, but you can't cover bases on. First off, he was already in the game, so there's nothing to do about lawsuits with the video game. They're looking at image, like you're putting a sex offender on your video game, blah, 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 blah. He's not a sex offender. He's never been accused of that officially. They say a UFC champion. Okay, we can all presume who it is, but name never was released. He's never yet been said, you're the guy. And even if we can all safely presume he's the guy, there's this thing called innocent until proven guilty. Unless you're in New York, that's a whole other animal there. But for the rest of the country in California, but outside of those two whack jobs, whatever happened to that, I have no idea. But it's pissing me off. And I'm not a big Brock fan. I was back in the day more so, but he kind of got on my nerves doing the same shit that Roman's doing. It's like I used to like Roman too, but I'm fucking over both of them. I don't want some part-time performer holding the championship hostage. I wouldn't care if y'all came back once in a while and had a short, 2-month feud with a top star just to, drum up sales or whatever and have another great match on the card. I'm good with that. But when you're holding the world championship hostage and you're not defending it but once every 30, 60, 90 days, no. I'm not up with that. Yeah, that was some really good stuff. I agree. Naomi is one that you should try using face morphing with. By the way, I did not see her name in the list. And again, she wasn't gone that long. Now, again, she could be one of these that comes along in the factions. Because she's only, 1 year out of the game? Her and Sasha? Yeah, I'm in the world where time is money. So if $20 is going to save me all that time, because you're talking about a couple of hours at least. And again, I don't really get anything from it. Well, I'm a big Barry Windham fan. So good point there. I love Barry Windham, and he's got one of those faces. Like, I just made Barry Windham on 2K18. I don't think I've even put him out there on the shows yet. And he's got a face that is very hard to recreate using the standard stuff in 2K18. Now, I would be curious to see, because he's got a very unique shaped nose and the hair. They don't have the right hair for Barry. I've got an amazing Barry Windham for 2K23 because the guys used a hair hack, and it came out perfect. But without a hair hack, Sting's, I feel like it's a cheat. Sting's pretty easy because the face paint's going to cover most. Face paint's going to be wearing off during the matches again. But only, my understanding is only if it's a wrestler in game with face paint. Like if I create a wrestler and put face paint on him, I don't think that will come off. It never has in the past. But if it does, that's a major plus. And again, I never said I wasn't going to end up with it. I wasn't going to get it at launch. That was the only thing that I was waiting to see. But that part changed too. But as I mentioned on a prior stream, I buy her games all the time, so I think she felt obligated. I bought her the Uncharted series. I bought her the Last of Us 2, the Harry Potter stuff, which it's like I have my own version because we live in our own places. We have our own residence. So she's got a PS4, I got a PS5. But like the Harry Potter thing, it's like I can use it if I wanted to, but I'm like, I don't want to. It's all yours. Have fun. And even she ended up like I'll get her review on it. And she gave up on that thing relatively quickly. I mean, I know she hasn't completed it, but from everything I hear about it, it's like and I had a feeling it would be like this. It's this ridiculous combination of buttons or whatever, just to have the motions and the spells take place. And no, I ain't got time for that in my life. Jushin Thunder Liger, normally all the parts are there for him. Pillman wouldn't be a tough one. Pop H, thanks, man. I know you're across the pond there, different time zone, but thanks for being here. Great to have you around again. See you soon. Bessie, what's up? CM Punk is coming, man. He's going to be in the first pack. Yeah, Spectre, but you're being preemptive to a guy. What was that damn movie with Tom Cruise where they're arresting people for crimes they haven't committed yet? Where you had all the computer screens up in front of him and you just like whoosh, 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 and wipe them around and stuff. That's what this is. It's like we're over here convicting this guy and he hasn't been charged with anything, much less convicted of anything. And that's a really slippery slope to get into. D-Train, man, always good to have you around, buddy. You know that. Pop H going to go find out how much it costs. You go get it, man. We'll play online. We'll match up. Maybe that's what I'll do this year. Maybe I'll have some one-on-ones with you guys. We can do private party matches and stuff. I've never done that before. Yeah, Spectre. Again, I'm starting to hear a little bit more about that now, and it does seem like it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, that's another good point. Mia and Candace, they were able to bring back without a problem. So I got a funny feeling Naomi comes back through the factions, or maybe as an additional character in one of the packs. They've done that before, too. I forget which one. It was last year, I think. There was like a bonus character that we hadn't heard about. The good old Widowmaker. By the way, if I would have thought about it sooner, I would have done a little tribute at the beginning of the program, but only Anderson passed away, if anyone hadn't heard. 80 years old. Wasn't the most loved man in wrestling, but you got to respect what he did, his work in the ring and being a part of the original Four Horsemen. So Flair had some really nice things to say about him. Freddie, are you saying that the created wrestler's face paint will also come off? That's, like I said, that's a pretty big one if that's true. Wyndham has not been in a game yet. Hard to believe, I guess. I don't know. Especially when you've got Bray Wyatt and all that. You would think there'd be a little bit of a crossover there. Shane Douglas, I love, man. That was one of he's in my top 5. My all-time top 5. I really loved Shane Douglas's work all the way from back in his early WCW run when he was teaming up with Steamboat, obviously through the ECW stuff. Even his WWE run, not the Dean Douglas thing. I was never a huge fan of the Dean Douglas thing. I thought that was stupid. But prior to that, when he was just Shane Douglas doing his, it was his early career, probably before WCW, if I'm not mistaken. Ollie's heel turn on Dusty Rhodes. Yeah, that'd be a good one to go out and watch today for everybody, just to take a moment to remember. I thought the Universal embargo ends on the 28th. What's today's date? Oh, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's the day, 28th. So, yeah, as of midnight, we'll probably start to see. I can tell you right now, Assembled likes to put his shit out at 12:01. He likes to be that first guy. So I expect between him and Smack Talks and New Legacy, we'll get a real full plate of some Universe and Mode stuff. And I hope there's something to be seen. Because in all honesty, this was one of the biggest holdups for me, is that they keep on neglecting Universe Mode. And it's already been said, and I wish I could remember where I heard the quote from, because it's somebody who knows people in 2K, that they view that as a THQ thing and they have no love for it. And they only leave it in because they know of the backlash they would get if they took it out, which is correct. Because years ago, when you guys took it over during COVID and you said, listen, we're going to take COVID year off. What do you want most in the game? GM1. I'm going to make up a number. Let's say they got 2 million votes for the GM role back in the game. And then coming in at 1.9888 million was Universe Mode with Create a Story. And they've done nothing with Universe Mode. Now, if it went from 2 million to 100,000, I could see you saying, well, piss on that. But, dude, it was right there. It was like 49 to 51%. The Dynamic Dudes. I'm one of the few people that actually thought that was an okay team, but that's before I realized that old Johnny was, well, Johnny. Brian Williams, the man behind the game. Shane's WWF run was between his dynamic dudes. Yeah, that sounds right. That's what I was thinking was somewhere in there. And again, that's when I liked him the most there. The Dean Douglas thing, I had no time for that. I felt bad for him. I really did. And then you hear the stories now about how basically guys like Shawn were keeping him buried in the back, and which is understandable because he was a threat to his spot. He was good enough to get over. No ring match. How have I not seen this match? Oh, I'm going to have to try and look that up. Is it on YouTube? Tell me it's on YouTube. I've got to take a look at that. Yeah, Freddie, I've got no use for the game without universe mode. And North Bankburn, that's the whole thing. Content creators are the ones that help sell the game. You know how many people are not going to get the game at launch because they want to see what the creative community puts out there about it, and is it good? And you got guys like New Legacy who are going to try and break the game. How hard will it be? Will they do it in the first 10 seconds like they did with 2K20 and then every 10 seconds after that? Or is it a game they're actually going to be just playing for a couple hours with an occasional hiccup? Then you got people like me, and I'm going to be focusing a lot. In the past, I was focusing on creating the wrestlers first and then eventually building the universe and all that. I'm going to be focusing right out the gate on universe mode. So if that's what you're into, this is the channel that's going to be jumping on that hard for the first probably 48 hours. Dude, I miss Create a Story so much. It was amazing. And they had such good cutscenes. We're supposed to be getting new cutscenes. We'll see. Again, cautiously optimistic. And when I say cautiously, I mean really cautiously. Yeah, I mean, look, the dudes were the dude. It's just, in hindsight, I don't know why I fell into that trap because Johnny really doesn't fit the bill. I mean, he couldn't skateboard for shit. Not that Shane was, riding any rails or anything, but he fit the look a little bit better, but Johnny looked like a giraffe. Again, this is what I'm saying. Well, no, Hunter, a lot of folks have said, and when I say folks, part of this lawsuit is that the offer was made, and it appears, again, we don't know, that he was going to partake in this luxury benefit offer, but that his plane was snowed in. He couldn't get out, and then it just never happened. Again, he did not commit the act. So the fact that it was offered to him is one thing. The fact that he was thinking about it, that's another thing. He didn't do it. You're convicting him by removing him of something he did not do. And right now, all you have is word of mouth that he even got to that point, that it was offered to him, that he was going to partake. You don't even know that happened. All you have is somebody claiming it happened. I just hope everyone responsible for pulling him out of this game and everyone else that's responsible for anything cancel culture, I hope they all fall victim to the same thing so you can feel what that's like. Yeah, so the tag match is definitely going to work better this year because you now have, I think, 4 options that you can control the outside partner with. So you can be in the ring competing, and then you can, like, let's say you got your finisher stored, you're ready to go. You can trigger your partner to come into the ring and go after the other guy so that he can't come in the ring and then execute your finisher. So things like that, dude, I mean, that's a win. And there's a couple of other options that you have with the tag team match. So I'm looking forward, again, to seeing how it all plays out. And again, because of all these new things, I have a funny feeling the New Legacy guys are going to have a real easy time breaking it. Same day, Bill Watts era WCW. Okay. Yeah, but I still got to look for that. I got to look for that. I don't know how I never saw that match or even heard about it till now. They don't like it, according to a somewhat reliable source, because they didn't create it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, but can't you make it a whole lot better than it used to be? And now it's yours. Create something you can be proud of. I mean, the fact that they didn't. So you can get CM Punk back in the game. You can put Jade Cargill in the game. But you can't put show intros in the game? Playoffs? Playoffs? No. I don't get it. Yeah, I'm telling you, I miss Create a Story so much. Well, you see, buddy, you're ahead of me because I've never played my factions once. The only time I've accidentally logged into my faction is because I thought I hit the backspace button and I didn't. And then I get right out of there. J-Rocks! Just in time. I'm getting ready to wrap. But go back and see what you missed because we covered everything about the game that we know so far. Tomorrow ends the embargo on Universe Mode, so we will have all kinds of Universe Mode information available to us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And sometime near the 5-6 o'clock hour, I will come back here and talk about it again with you guys. So feel free to join us then. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here with me tonight. You know, I always appreciate it. And we'll be back with some more almost guaranteed tomorrow, man. Look forward to it. In the meantime, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you then. I actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man. I would say, like, for me, like the best ones, I would say are like the ones where they try to get a certain like time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen.